Hello everyone, welcome to Unit 3. This unit will be focused on radicals and rational exponents. Um, so today should hopefully be a review for most of you. We'll be looking at factoring and then doing the product of two polynomials for this first one. Just so everyone knows, this is my first real try at doing the flipped classroom, so I am definitely open to your feedback and suggestions on ways that I can improve this because I want to make this as useful and effective as I can for you. But let's get started. So our first step here is to write out our two polynomials, 3x plus 2 and 2x plus 5. So with this, we're going to distribute twice. So we're going to take the 3x, distribute that to the 2x and the 5, and then the second is with the 2 doing to the same ones. So if we start that, then we first get 6x squared plus 15x, and that comes from the 3. And then from the 2, we get 4x plus 10. All right, and then we have these guys here, common factors, so we can combine those, which makes it 6x squared plus 19x, let me fix that, plus 10. So that's our final answer. And this is the way most of you should have seen this. Another way to show it, and some of you may have seen this way as well, this is just a little bit more of a visual representation. So we have a box. Two of the sides have one of each equation. So the left side is the 3x plus 2, the top is the 2x plus 5. And then we multiply each side just like you would if you're trying to find the area in here. So they have our top left box done. So we're going to do the top right first. 3x times 5 gets us our 15x. And then bottom left, so we have 2 times 2x, which gets us 4x. And bottom right gets us 10. And we have our common factors again there. So as we saw in the other example, we should get 6x squared plus 19x plus 10. And yeah, it's just another way of showing how we get this answer. So then I'm going to have you do these next 6 on your own. I'm going to have you pause the video, work it out on your own, and I will have the answers when you come back. Here are your answers for all 6 of these. If you have any questions on how I got to any of these answers, please let me know in class and we'll go over for you. So we're going to move on to factoring in this case. So for this, we're doing our greatest common factors, or GCF factoring. So as you can see in A, we have 5x plus 10. So our GCF for 5 and 10 is 5. So we can pull the 5 out, and we leave the remaining in the parentheses. So in this case, it's 1x plus 2. And that's how we get this as our answer. So for this, I'm going to have you do B, C, and D on your own. And again, pause the video, work it out, and then I'll have the answers when you unpause the video. Here you go. Here are your answers for this. So all we did was just pull out the GCF for each of these and then write the what was left over inside the parentheses. So pretty easy here. Our next step is that we can have a variable as our GCF, and that typically happens when we have the variable in both parts or in every part. So as you can see in example A, we have 3x squared plus 6x. So we have a GCF of 3x, which we can pull out, and we're left with x plus 2. So that's what's left in our parentheses. So again, for B, C, and D, just pause the video, work it out yourself, and unpause the video when you're ready, and I'll have your answers for you. All right, so here are our answers. 5x was our GCF for B and C, and then D was sort of a trick question because 20 didn't actually have a variable with it, so all we could take out was our 10, and we're left with 3x squared minus 2. And we can do the same thing as we just did with trinomials and really any other polynomial, but we're just going to go up to trinomial in this case. So for A, as you can see, we have 2's in all of these, so we can pull out that 2, and we're left with the x squared plus 4x plus 5. So again, pause the video, work out the other 3, and unpause, and I'll have your answers for you. Here we go. So for B, our GCF was 5. C, our GCF was 4x, and D, our GCF was 3x. So those we pulled out, and we wrote what was left in our parentheses. So those are just 3 different ways of doing GCF factoring. And then the typical factoring you would do, you would see mostly with the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and in particular for this one we're going to be focusing when a is equal to 1. So when that happens, we have b. This b is equal to when b or p and q, the sum of those two, and the product of those two, as we see here, is what our c value is. So when we're working with a quadratic equation that has an a value of 1, just like here in example 1, we'll look for how we get our c value, what our product is, and then use those factors to try and find what our b value is. So in this case, for 1, we have x squared minus 7x minus 8. So what we can do is we can list out our factors for 8. So if this wants to, so we have 8 and 1 to start. Okay, so 8 and 1 will get us 7, 8 minus 1, but we have a negative 7, so we have to find a way to get a negative. As we can see here, we have a negative 8. So one of these, 8 or 1, has to be negative. And if we have a negative 7, that means we have to have a negative 8. So we have negative 8 and 1 as our factors for P and Q. And that's where we get x minus 8 for one factor and x plus 1 for the other one. So yeah, if you're not sure whether you're right or not, a good way to make sure is with these, you can do a check to make sure your answer is right. And how you do that is you just do the multiplication. You go the reverse. So we have x and x, so we have an x squared. Hold on. I'm getting kind of laggy. So we have x squared, and then a negative 8 times x, and a positive 1 times x. So we have minus 8x plus an x, and then we have minus 8 times 1, so negative times positive is a negative, and 8 times 1 is 8, so we get negative 8. These two are like terms, so we're left with x squared minus 7x minus 8, which is our original equation. So that's how we can check if we factored right. If our check came out to our original equation, then we did it right. If it didn't, we have to go back and see where we messed up and go ahead and fix that. So last time, I'm going to have you pause the video, work on the rest of these by yourself, and then come back and I'll have your answers for you. 5 might be a little tricky, and I'll explain that when we come back. Okay, go ahead and pause the video. And last but not least, here are your answers for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for this part. If we have any questions on any of these answers, particularly 5 is probably one I'll go over in class anyways, but if you have specific questions on that, let me know in class, and we can go over that for you. Otherwise, that's the end of the video today. Again, feel free to give me feedback on how I'm doing, and if there's any suggestions you have on how I can improve in my videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in class. Thank you.